a man breaks through a wall in his house to find something astonishing. The year is 1963. A man in his house in the small town of Derinkuyu is ready to make some changes. He wants to break through a wall in his basement to make the room bigger because he's going to use it as storage. Little did he know that this seemingly insignificant decision would lead him to the discovery of the century. It happened in the early 1960s in the small Turkish town of Derinkuyu, nestled amidst the surreal landscape of Cappadocia, a region famed for its fairy chimneys and subterranean cave dwellings. As the man swung his hammer, the sound echoed strangely, as if in an enclosed space. Confused, he looked around. There was a hole in the wall. But where did the sound come from? Curiosity piqued, he expanded the hole, revealing a dark, narrow passage. Cautiously, he descended. As his eyes adjusted to the gloom, he saw that the passage extended far beyond his home. What he had thought was a simple wall was actually the entrance to a subterranean labyrinth. But what he didn't know was that this underground labyrinth was not just a random system of tunnels. It was the entrance to a vast, underground city. What's really amazing is that despite its size, nobody knew about this underground city until the man accidentally discovered it. How did this underground city go unnoticed for so long? The journey down. A total of 6 floors have been discovered so far, although the deepest point of this underground maze goes down 18 floors. It is mind-boggling that such a large construction can be hidden in plain sight for so long. The underground city has rooms of all sizes. Some are quite spacious, while others are relatively small. Most of the big rooms are square-shaped, although there are also circular ones. There are many staircases inside the city, and they all lead downwards, which means there might be even more floors below the deepest one that has been discovered so far. The builders of this underground labyrinth were clearly very clever and knew exactly what they were doing. They managed to create a complex system of tunnels and rooms that could easily confuse anyone who tried to explore it. The tunnels are so narrow in some places that only one person can fit through at a time. And this makes sense considering that this underground labyrinth was probably built as a hiding place. If you're hiding from something or someone, you don't want too many people to know about your whereabouts. That's why the builders of this underground labyrinth made sure that it was as confusing as possible. As the explorer descended deeper into the labyrinth, the air grew cooler, damper, and carried a faint scent of earth and something else, almost metallic. He pulled out his phone, its light doing little to pierce the oppressive darkness. Each step echoed in the unnerving silence, broken only by the drip, drip, drip of unseen water. The stairs were cut precisely into the rock, suggesting a skilled craftsman and a purpose built for endurance. He could hear the sound of dripping water in the distance. And as he rounded a bend, he saw a massive cavern illuminated by a shaft of light filtering through a hole in the ceiling. It was filled with water, forming a small pool in the center. The presence of water was a relief, hinting at the potential for sustaining life within the labyrinth. The explorer continued his descent, eager to see what other secrets the underground city held. Who built the underground city? One of the biggest mysteries surrounding the underground city is, of course, who built it and why. Historians have been unable to reach a consensus on these matters, though they generally agree that the earliest inhabitants of the area were the Hittites, who settled here around 2000 BC. The Phrygians followed the Hittites and left behind artifacts that indicate they lived here between 1200 and 700 BC. After the Phrygians were the Greeks, then the Romans, and finally the Byzantines. All of these civilizations left their mark on the region. But who exactly built the underground city is still a mystery. However, historians do agree that it was not built all at once, but rather over a period of several centuries. This is based on the different levels and structures found throughout the underground city, which suggests that it was expanded upon as the need arose. For example, some parts of the underground city are hewn out of solid rock, while others are made of bricks. This indicates that it was built in different periods using different techniques. Additionally, different levels and features suggest that various civilizations contributed to its construction, adapting and expanding upon previous efforts. Amazingly, the entire city has been crafted from the soft volcanic tuff rock found in the Cappadocia region. This porous, igneous rock is formed from the consolidation of volcanic ash and is remarkably malleable when wet. By channeling water into the rock, the builders could gradually wear away and shape it to their needs. Over time, This created a honeycomb network of tunnels and chambers hidden beneath the surface. But the real mystery is how they kept this place a secret for so long. The answer lies in the ingenuity of the builders who created a series of false floors and ceilings throughout the city. These were cleverly designed to blend seamlessly with the rest of the structure, fooling anyone who might stumble upon the entrance. But there is more to the underground city than just the tunnels and chambers. It also has a number of unique features that make it even more remarkable. For example, there are ventilation shafts that allow fresh air to circulate throughout the city. These shafts are cleverly designed to prevent predators and unwanted visitors from entering. In addition to the ventilation shafts, there are also wells that were used for collecting rainwater and other liquids. The shafts and wells are ingeniously linked to various parts of the city, allowing residents to access resources efficiently. What's more, the underground city also has a number of traps and defensive mechanisms that indicate its builders were prepared to defend it at all costs. These include concealed passages, dead ends, and false doors, all designed to confuse any intruders. Life beneath the city. But it's not just the design of the underground city that's fascinating. It's also amazing to think about what life was like for the people who lived there. How did they get food and water? How did they deal with waste? And what did their days and nights look like? The underground city was likely used as a refuge during times of war or persecution, providing a safe haven for the local population. Its design allowed for communal living with shared spaces for cooking, eating, and socializing. The people who lived there likely had to work together to survive, relying on each other for help and support. But life in the underground city would not have been easy. It was dark, dank, and cramped, and the residents would have been constantly aware of the danger that lay just outside their underground walls. Despite the challenges, the people who lived in the underground city were resourceful and resilient, finding ways to make their subterranean homes habitable and sustainable. They created ventilation systems to bring in fresh air, irrigation systems to water their crops, and even furniture made from the very rock they inhabited. Their ingenuity and determination allowed them to thrive in one of the most inhospitable environments imaginable. Today, visitors can explore parts of the underground city, but much of it remains hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be discovered. The underground city is a reminder of the ingenuity and adaptability of the human spirit in the face of adversity. It's a testament to the lengths people will go to in order to survive and preserve their culture and heritage. And it's a reminder that there are still many mysteries left to uncover in our world. What do you think about this underground city? Let me know in the comments below. It's easy to forget while walking on the surface of the modern town of Derinkuyu that beneath your feet lies a marvel of ancient engineering. An entire city, hollowed out of volcanic rock, stretches downward for more than 18 levels, capable of sheltering thousands. The deeper archaeologists explored, the more complex the system became, revealing secrets about the ingenuity and determination of its creators. This chapter takes you into the bones of the underground city, its layout, defense systems, and design features that made it not only habitable, but untraceable for centuries. A city built to vanish. At first glance, the architecture of Derinkuyu might seem like a maze of narrow tunnels and small rooms. But with each descending level, the blueprint begins to make sense. The city is organized around vertical shafts, some as deep as 55 meters, that serve as central access points. These vertical shafts double as both stairwells and ventilation systems, allowing fresh air to flow from the surface down to the lowest levels. From these main shafts, tunnels branch off in all directions, connecting residences, communal areas, storage rooms, stables, churches, and even a school. The city wasn't built all at once. It evolved over centuries, layer by layer, likely starting with simple caves expanded into larger chambers. As threats increased, be it from invading armies, religious persecution, or natural disasters, the inhabitants dug deeper. By the time it reached its peak, the city could house up to 20,000 people. Unlike surface cities, where streets are visible and open to the sky, Derinkuyu's layout was hidden. From above, no trace of the sprawling civilization below gave away its existence. Entrances were hidden inside homes, behind trapdoors, or beneath loose floorboards. This wasn't just convenient, it was strategic, engineering the impossible. One of the most baffling aspects of Derinkuyu's construction is the sheer technical sophistication. The city was carved into soft volcanic tuff, a type of rock that's relatively easy to dig through when freshly exposed, but hardens upon contact with air. This made it perfect for sculpting stable tunnels and rooms, but only if done with extreme precision. So how did ancient builders prevent collapses, cave-ins, or air stagnation? The answer lies in their planning. Tunnels were narrow to maintain structural strength. Ceilings were arched to distribute weight. Support pillars were left intact in larger chambers. Ventilation shafts were strategically spaced to ensure a constant flow of air, even on the deepest levels. Remarkably, over 15,000 smaller ventilation shafts have been documented, with the main ones acting like chimneys. These vertical shafts didn't just bring in air, they also helped regulate temperature, keeping the city at a stable 13–15 degrees Celsius year-round. In a region with blazing summers and freezing winters, this subterranean climate control was essential. Water was also addressed ingeniously. Wells reached into underground aquifers, and many were protected to prevent poisoning during sieges. In some cases, these wells were accessible only from lower levels, adding another layer of security. Fortresses below ground. Derinkuyu wasn't just a refuge, it was a fortress. The architects understood that danger might follow them underground, so they embedded a range of defense mechanisms throughout the city. The most iconic feature is the massive rolling stone doors, found at key junctions. These circular stones, often weighing between 200 to 500 kilograms, could be rolled across tunnel entrances to block invaders. They were carved to fit snugly in the tunnel walls and included a small central hole, possibly for spears or viewing. Once in place, the doors could only be opened from the inside. Tunnels were also built with bottlenecks, narrow, sloping passages where only one person could pass at a time. These choke points could be easily defended by a few armed guards. In the event of an invasion, families could retreat deeper into the city, closing off levels behind them, buying time or sealing themselves away until danger passed. Hidden exits were another masterstroke. Though many main entrances were concealed within homes, alternate escape routes were built, leading far from the main site, some extending over a kilometer. These could be used to evacuate, gather supplies, or launch counterattacks. There's evidence that certain rooms were designed for storage of weapons and possibly for training. Grooves in the walls, square niches, and deliberate placement of oil lamps suggest an environment where strategy and preparation was a way of life. There's even speculation that sound engineering played a role. Some researchers have noted that certain rooms may have been acoustically designed for speech or ceremony. The echo patterns in the chapels and meeting halls seem deliberate, enhancing voice projection in a way that would be useful for group gatherings or religious rites. Life by design. Beyond its defensive brilliance, the city's layout also reveals how daily life was structured for long-term survival. Unlike mere hideouts, Derinkuyu functioned as a livable space. Rooms weren't haphazardly dug. They were purposefully designed. The upper levels contained stables for livestock. Animals were kept close to the surface where ventilation was strongest and waste could be more easily removed. Below that were kitchens, food storage chambers, wine and oil presses, and grain bins. Lower still were communal areas, including a chapel with a barrel-vaulted ceiling, complete with a nave and altar. A unique ventilation shaft acted as a vertical corridor, connecting these layers while keeping them aerated. Even educational and religious needs were addressed. A large chamber, possibly a school, contained benches carved directly into the stone. Rooms with raised platforms may have served as council halls or sanctuaries. Despite the darkness and confinement, the city's layout reflects a thoughtful effort to mimic the rhythms of surface life. Each level played a role in the greater whole. Whether a family was praying, cooking, teaching, or preparing for conflict, there was space carved out for it. Precision in the darkness. To build such a city with no modern tools, no light bulbs, and no concrete is nothing short of miraculous. How did workers navigate the darkness? Oil lamps lined the walls, casting flickering shadows that illuminated the tunnels. Soot stains still remain on the ceilings, a silent testimony to the thousands of flames that once lit this underground world. It's believed that excavation was done slowly and steadily, with work passed from generation to generation. Certain tools, like chisels, hammers, and bronze implements, have been found, suggesting that much of the work was done manually. Marks on the walls also suggest an organized system of labor, with straight cuts and uniform angles found throughout. There's even speculation that sound engineering played a role. Some researchers have noted that certain rooms may have been acoustically designed for speech or ceremony. The echo patterns in the chapels and meeting halls seem deliberate, enhancing voice projection in a way that would be useful for group gatherings or religious rites. A monument to anonymity. What makes Derinkuyu so captivating isn't just the scale or sophistication, it's the anonymity. No grand inscriptions boast of its builders. No kings left behind statues or tablets. The city seems to have been built not for glory, but for survival. And for centuries, it did just that. It vanished beneath the earth, leaving no trace on the surface. Yet somehow, layer upon layer, it defied time, remaining hidden until rediscovered by modern eyes. Today, we can stand at its entrance, looking down into the abyss, and try to comprehend the lives that unfolded in its depths. But ultimately, the true story of Derinkuyu remains etched in its tunnels, whispered in the echoes of its halls, a testament to an unknown multitude who toiled in darkness to carve out not just a home, but a legacy. It's one of the most baffling questions in ancient architecture. Who built Derinkuyu? The underground city beneath the Cappadocian plains stretches for over 18 levels and descends more than 280 feet into the earth. Yet no historical document tells us precisely who constructed it. Archaeologists, historians, and mystics alike have speculated on its origin, but the truth remains tantalizingly out of reach. In this chapter, we delve into the prevailing theories, explore historical clues, examine local myths, and confront the possibility that Derinkuyu might predate the timeline of recorded civilization. The leading theories: Hittites, Phrygians, early Christians, or beyond. The first contenders in the race to claim credit for Derinkuyu's construction are the Hittites, a powerful empire that ruled Anatolia from around 1600 to 1200 BCE. Known for their advanced building techniques and use of massive stone architecture, the Hittites had both the manpower and the engineering prowess to begin carving out a complex underground system. Some scholars argue that the earliest sections of Derinkuyu were likely created as emergency shelters during invasions, specifically during the tumultuous times when the Hittite Empire was under pressure from the mysterious Sea Peoples. Next come the Phrygians, who rose in prominence after the fall of the Hittites, around 1200 BCE. They are sometimes credited with expanding the early underground networks into more permanent dwellings. The Phrygians, famed for their skill in rock-cut tombs and temple architecture, may have seen the subterranean realm as both a practical refuge and a spiritual space. The most commonly accepted theory, especially among modern scholars, is that early Christians were the ones who refined and populated Derinkuyu during the Byzantine period, particularly between the 5th and 10th centuries CE. Christian communities were frequently targeted during religious persecutions, first by Romans, later by Arab invaders, which led to the need for hiding places. Indeed, evidence such as crosses carved into walls and rooms designed for communal worship lends weight to the idea that early Christians used the space extensively. And yet, while Christians may have inhabited Derinkuyu, few believe they actually built its foundations. So, who did? Historical records, or the lack thereof. One of the most curious things about Derinkuyu is what's not found. There are no detailed records, inscriptions, or architectural plans that explain its construction. The city seems to have emerged from the earth fully formed, without leaving behind a clear historical trail. The ancient Greek historians, including Xenophon, wrote about people in Anatolia who lived underground. In his work, Anabasis, Xenophon described Anatolian families residing in subterranean dwellings, with livestock and food stores. These accounts align with the lifestyle that might have been practiced in places like Derinkuyu. However, they still do not pinpoint its builders. Ottoman records make mention of strange underground tunnels in Cappadocia, but they too lack detail. Even the early Christian texts that refer to persecution do not mention an underground city by name, just vague references to hiding in caves or secluded places. This lack of documentation opens the door to more esoteric theories, many of which stretch the imagination. Myths, legends, and oral traditions. Among the local populations in Cappadocia, the underground cities have always been surrounded by legends. Some tell of a vast underworld created by jinn or demons, meant to trap souls or protect holy artifacts. Others describe Derinkuyu as the work of gods, aliens, or forgotten giants who once walked the earth. Oral traditions passed down for centuries often speak of the ancient ones, who built the tunnels before memory began. These tales echo themes found across the globe, in stories of lost cities, buried civilizations, and ancient cataclysms. One recurring theme is that Derinkuyu was built in anticipation of disaster, a nuclear winter, a celestial event, or a divine flood. While scientifically speculative, this narrative feeds into the broader human fascination with civilizations that prepared for apocalypse. Interestingly, some of the region's folklore aligns with similar mythological accounts from Mesopotamian and Sumerian texts, suggesting cultural overlap or shared ancestral stories. Could Derinkuyu be the result of a pre-Hittite civilization now lost to time? Could it predate recorded history? Some researchers go further and argue that Derinkuyu may be much older than mainstream archaeology admits. According to these views, the foundational levels of the city could date back as far as 10,000 years, possibly even to the end of the last ice age. This theory aligns with discoveries at Göbekli Tepe, a nearby site also in Turkey, which features massive stone pillars arranged in a temple-like structure and dates back to at least 9600 BCE. If humans could create such monumental architecture over 11,000 years ago, is it impossible they also carved underground sanctuaries? Geological studies of the tough rock that makes up Cappadocia show that it is relatively soft and malleable, ideal for carving. This has led some to suggest that Derinkuyu could have been a prehistoric construction, gradually expanded upon by later civilizations like the Hittites, Phrygians, and early Christians. Of course, mainstream archaeologists remain skeptical. Dating stone is notoriously difficult, especially without associated artifacts. Critics argue that there is no solid evidence supporting a construction date before 1500 BCE, but in the absence of clear documentation, the door remains slightly ajar for alternative timelines, an ongoing enigma. Ultimately, Derinkuyu remains a monumental enigma. While theories abound and evidence can be interpreted in many ways, the lack of definitive answers only deepens the mystery. Was it a Hittite wartime shelter, a Phrygian ceremonial center, a Christian sanctuary, or a relic of a much older, forgotten society? Perhaps it was all of these things, rebuilt, reoccupied, and reimagined by every generation that passed through the Cappadocian heartland. The deeper we go into Derinkuyu, the more we realize how little we know. Its narrow corridors and hidden chambers aren't just architectural marvels. They are echoes of lives, beliefs, fears, and hopes we've only begun to understand. And so, as we continue our descent through the story of Derinkuyu, one truth becomes clear. The question of who built it may not have a single answer, but the mystery itself is what makes it eternal. Have you ever seen an underground city? Imagine descending into the cool silence of the earth, leaving behind the warmth of sunlight and the boundless expanse of open skies. For the people of Derinkuyu, this descent was not temporary. It was life. Beneath the rugged terrain of Cappadocia in modern-day Turkey, thousands lived for extended periods in what can only be described as an underground metropolis. But what was daily life like for these hidden communities? How did they manage food, light, waste, and emotions in a world entirely disconnected from the surface? Welcome to our channel. And today let's find out what daily life was like in the underground city. Daily routines, life in perpetual twilight. Waking up in Derinkuyu meant rising into dim, ambient light, if any at all. Oil lamps were the main source of illumination, casting flickering shadows across stone walls. With no natural light or clocks, residents likely used routines and communal signals to track time. Morning might begin with communal prayer, or simple tasks like tending to animals and preparing food. Cooking was done in stone kitchens with air ducts designed to dissipate smoke without revealing the city's location. Meals would have been basic: grains, legumes, dried fruits, and perhaps preserved meat or cheese stored in cool underground pantries. Children had designated areas for schooling. While we have no written record of formal education, evidence suggests spaces for learning and religious instruction. It's possible that elders passed down oral histories and survival techniques, ensuring cultural continuity. Religious life played a major role in shaping the rhythm of the day. Small chapels and churches have been found in Derinkuyu, complete with altars and crosses etched into the walls. Worship could have served as both spiritual nourishment and a way to maintain cohesion in confined, sometimes stressful conditions. Exploring the rooms. A hidden civilization. Below, archaeologists have discovered more than just living quarters in Derinkuyu. The site reveals a complex and comprehensive infrastructure designed for every aspect of life. There were wineries where grapes were likely pressed and stored, helping preserve both nutrition and morale. Kitchens contain ovens and grinding stones, implying that daily meals were not just improvised but carefully planned and executed. Churches, sometimes multi-level, show the importance of faith in underground life. Crosses, baptismal fonts, and fresco remnants indicate that these weren't makeshift prayer areas, but established places of worship. There are even schools, some believed to be religious in nature, and animal pens, further proof that the inhabitants managed a balanced, self-sustaining system. Even the ventilation shafts serve a dual purpose. Beyond oxygen circulation, they may have functioned as an acoustic system, allowing communication between levels or alerting residents in emergencies. The stone doors that could be rolled into place weren't just for defense. They separated rooms by purpose, helping regulate smells, noise, and traffic. Life without sunlight. Managing in total darkness. One of the most haunting aspects of Derinkuyu is the constant darkness. How did people adapt to the absence of sunlight for weeks or months? Their solution was oil lamps and a highly structured routine. The ability to divide time in such an environment would rely heavily on routines, bells, or scheduled chants and rituals. Without modern clocks, time was measured communally, not individually. The lack of natural light posed both physiological and psychological challenges. Lack of vitamin D, for instance, can lead to bone problems and fatigue. But more than that, the emotional strain of never seeing the sun may have led to anxiety, irritability, or depression. It's likely that spiritual leaders or community elders played a crucial role in maintaining morale and psychological balance. Social structure was essential. From the archaeological layout, it appears that the underground city was highly organized. Families likely had assigned areas. Leaders, whether religious, political, or both, probably coordinated activities and resource distribution. Community meetings and ceremonies helped reinforce a shared sense of purpose. A city like no other. The layout and infrastructure of Derinkuyu. Derinkuyu wasn't just a haphazard collection of tunnels. It was a meticulously planned network of refuge. The layout reflects a deep understanding of environmental controls, resource management, and community needs. Each level is a testament to this, with its own ventilation shafts, latrines, stables, and living quarters. Access to these levels was controlled through a series of tunnels and ladders, limiting access to authorized personnel. This level of complexity required skilled architects and engineers, possibly members of monastic orders, to design and maintain the city. Excavating and sustaining such a large underground city would have required significant labor. Work likely followed an organized schedule with shifts for different age groups and genders. The use of bronze tools, picks, and shovels would have been efficient but exhausting. Each swing of a pick was a battle against the unyielding earth, a reminder of their isolation and vulnerability. The people of the underground. Who were the inhabitants? Answering the question of who inhabited Derinkuyu takes us to the heart of its history, a period marked by conflicts and persecutions. Historians believe that the initial settlers were members of the early Christian monastic movement known as the Cappadocian monks. Around the 4th century, seeking refuge from Roman persecution, they began carving out their homes in the soft volcanic rock of the region. Over time, these underground dwellings evolved into larger networks, accommodating not just monks, but entire communities. The biggest of these settlements became known as Derinkuyu. The identity of those who sought refuge here varied over the centuries. During the Byzantine era, it's estimated that around 20,000 people lived in Cappadocia, fleeing conflicts and seeking sanctuary in the bowels of the earth. Keeping busy, activities and recreation in the underground city. In the heart of the underground city, archaeologists have uncovered remnants of daily life, offering a glimpse into how residents spent their leisure time. Frescoes depicting biblical scenes adorn the walls, hinting at communal storytelling and religious instruction. Games such as dice and backgammon have been found, suggesting that recreation was valued, even in the dim oil lamp lighting. Pottery with geometric designs indicates a tradition of craftsmanship, while the discovery of musical instruments points to a vibrant cultural life. The inhabitants of Derinkuyu weren't just survivors. They cultivated a life underground, finding joy and meaning in their surroundings. Challenges and conflicts, living under siege. Life in the underground city wasn't idyllic. The very features that made it a haven also made it vulnerable. The winding tunnels and numerous entrances could become confusing, especially during times of conflict. Food and water, though carefully rationed, could run low during sieges. The threat of suffocation loomed, demanding constant vigilance over fires and ventilation. The underground city was a microcosm of the world above, with its own economy, social structure, and governance. Decisions regarding resource allocation, work schedules, and safety protocols were crucial for survival. The role of leadership in such a confined environment was pivotal, requiring diplomacy, organization, and the ability to maintain order and prevent panic. Living with darkness, tracking time, and keeping order. One of the most haunting aspects of Derinkuyu is the constant darkness. How did people adapt to the absence of sunlight for weeks or months? Their solution was oil lamps and a highly structured routine. The ability to divide time in such an environment would rely heavily on routines, bells, or scheduled chants and rituals. Without natural clocks, time was measured communally, not individually. The lack of natural light posed both physiological and psychological challenges. Lack of vitamin D, for instance, can lead to bone problems and fatigue. But more than that, the emotional strain of never seeing the sun may have led to anxiety, irritability, or depression. It's likely that spiritual leaders or community elders played a crucial role in maintaining morale and psychological balance. Social structure was essential. From the archaeological layout, it appears that the underground city was highly organized. Families likely had assigned areas. Leaders, whether religious, political, or both, probably coordinated activities and resource distribution. Community meetings and ceremonies helped reinforce a shared sense of purpose. The psychological toll. Isolation and identity. While Derinkuyu was a marvel of engineering and communal planning, it also demanded intense psychological resilience. Living underground is not natural for humans. The absence of weather, changing light, and open space could disorient the senses. Studies on modern-day cave explorers and astronauts suggest that such environments can affect sleep cycles, mood, and cognitive function. Imagine the silence, broken only by the murmur of distant voices, the scraping of stone, the shuffle of footsteps. The stillness that wraps around you at night might be peaceful or suffocating. For children raised entirely underground during long sieges, their earliest memories would be stone walls and flickering shadows, not sunlight and grass. Yet these people endured. They didn't just survive, they created community, culture, and structure. This resilience speaks to a deeply rooted identity. These were not merely refugees hiding from conflict. They were citizens of a hidden world, one passed down through generations. It's easy to romanticize this lifestyle as either noble or tragic, but the reality lies somewhere in between. The people of Derinkuyu demonstrated an extraordinary capacity for adaptation, crafting a complete society in one of the most hostile environments imaginable. Conclusion: a life like no other. Derinkuyu was not a temporary bunker. It was a home. Generations of families lived, worshipped, learned, and worked here. Despite the challenges of darkness, limited space, and psychological strain, they developed systems of architecture, governance, and culture that allowed thousands to thrive below the earth. Life in Derinkuyu was a delicate balance of engineering and emotion, of faith and survival. Every room tells a story, not just of practicality, but of a people who understood that true safety didn't just mean walls and doors. It meant purpose, unity, and belief. As we explore deeper into this subterranean world, the layers of stone begin to resemble the layers of humanity. Complex, fragile, and deeply interconnected. What they built beneath the earth wasn't just shelter, it was civilization. In the heart of the Anatolian Peninsula, nestled within the rugged terrain of Cappadocia, lies the subterranean marvel of Derinkuyu. This underground city stands as a testament to human resilience. A labyrinth of tunnels and chambers, carved into the soft volcanic rock of the region. But what makes Derinkuyu truly extraordinary is the mystery surrounding its creation and its purpose. Why did the people of Cappadocia carve their homes into the earth, and what secrets lie hidden beneath its surface? Before we begin our journey into the depths of Derinkuyu, it's crucial to understand the historical context that shaped this enigmatic site. Cappadocia, situated in the heartland of modern-day Turkey, has been inhabited for thousands of years. Its unique landscape, characterized by towering chimneys known as fairy chimneys, was a product of volcanic activity and erosion. Over time, this region became a melting pot of cultures, influenced by the empires and civilizations that rose and fell around it. From the ancient Phrygians and Armenians to the Greeks, Romans, and Arabs, each group left its indelible mark on Cappadocia. During the Byzantine era, which lasted from the 4th to the 15th century, Cappadocia was a predominantly Christian region. It was during this period that Christianity found fertile ground in Cappadocia. The teachings of Jesus Christ resonated with the local populace, and the faith spread rapidly. However, as Christianity grew in popularity, it also faced persecution, particularly from the Roman Empire, which initially viewed the new religion with suspicion and hostility. To escape the wrath of the Roman authorities, Christians sought refuge in the underground dwellings of Cappadocia. The soft volcanic rock provided an ideal medium for carving intricate networks of tunnels and chambers. Thus began the transformation of Cappadocia into a subterranean kingdom. The construction of underground cities like Derinkuyu was a collaborative effort involving entire communities. Men, women, and children worked together to excavate the labyrinthine passages, using rudimentary tools such as hammers, chisels, and picks. The interiors of these underground cities were not merely utilitarian spaces for survival, they were transformed into works of art. Byzantine frescoes adorned the walls depicting biblical scenes, providing a sense of solace and spiritual nourishment to those who sought refuge within. But why were these underground sanctuaries necessary? The answer lies in the turbulent history of the region. Cappadocia became a strategic point of contention between the Byzantine and Arab empires. The Arabs, driven by the spread of Islam, launched numerous incursions into Byzantine territories. The people of Cappadocia found themselves caught in the crossfire of these conflicts. Faced with the threat of violence, persecution, and enslavement, they turned to the underground cities as their last line of defense. Within these subterranean realms, they could hide from marauders, safeguarding their lives and preserving their faith. Today, visitors can explore the remnants of these underground cities, including the remarkably preserved Derinkuyu. Descending into its depths, one is greeted by a network of tunnels and chambers that once housed thousands of people. The cool, moist air carries whispers of the past as you navigate the intricate passages. The silence is broken only by the sound of your own footsteps echoing through the subterranean chambers. It's a surreal experience that evokes a sense of awe and wonder. The ingenuity and resourcefulness of the early Christians who carved out this subterranean sanctuary is truly remarkable. The sheer scale of Derinkuyu, with its multiple levels and vast network of tunnels, is a testament to the determination and perseverance of its inhabitants. Imagine living and thriving in this underground world, where the only illumination comes from flickering oil lamps. How did the inhabitants manage their daily lives, sustain themselves, and maintain a sense of community? The answer lies in the details. Archaeologists have uncovered remnants of homes, workshops, and even churches within the underground city. These spaces, though confined, were designed to maximize the available area. Furniture was often built into the walls, and multi-purpose rooms served various functions. Life in Derinkuyu and other underground cities was undoubtedly challenging, but it was also an exercise in adaptability and resilience. The residents of Cappadocia didn't just survive in these subterranean realms. They created a society that functioned in the face of adversity. Their faith played a central role in sustaining their spirits as they navigated the darkness and cramped conditions. Religious rituals and services provided a sense of hope and comfort, reminding them that they were not alone in their struggles. The artwork adorning the walls of underground churches served as a visual reminder of their beliefs and offered a distraction from the harsh realities of their surroundings. But life in Derinkuyu was not without its hardships. The lack of natural light could take a toll on the residents' physical and mental health. The absence of sunlight can disrupt our biological rhythms and affect our well-being. Additionally, the confined spaces and limited airflow in the underground city would have posed challenges to sanitation and overall hygiene. Diseases could spread easily, and the constant darkness could lead to despair. Despite these hardships, the residents of Derinkuyu and other underground cities persevered. They developed ingenious methods to cope with the challenges they faced. Natural materials such as wood and plant fibers were used to create rudimentary furniture and household items. Water was brought in from nearby sources to sustain the residents and their livestock. And oil lamps provided a lifeline of illumination, allowing them to carry out their daily tasks and communicate with one another. As the centuries passed, the need for underground shelters gradually diminished. The Byzantine Empire, though weakened, managed to withstand the Arab onslaught and secure its borders. Life in Cappadocia began to return to a semblance of normalcy. The underground cities, once bustling with activity, slowly emptied out. The inhabitants, yearning for the light of day and the embrace of the natural world, emerged from their subterranean homes. The tunnels and chambers that had been their sanctuary became abandoned and forgotten. Today, the rediscovery of these underground cities has captured the imagination of explorers and historians alike. Excavations have revealed the secrets they've been hiding for centuries, offering us a glimpse into a remarkable chapter of human history. We stand in awe of the ingenuity and determination of the early Christians who transformed the rugged terrain of Cappadocia into a refuge from persecution. As we go, one of its most astonishing features emerges. But it isn't just the massive scale of the city itself. The miles of tunnels and rooms carved through volcanic rock, or the sheer number of people who may have lived there. It's not even the possible ancient Christian origins of the city, or its strange, sudden abandonment sometime in the Middle Ages. What makes Derinkuyu truly fascinating is that as we delve into its depths, it seems clear that this was not just a single underground city, but one node in a vast network of subterranean settlements that formed a hidden web beneath the surface of Cappadocia. As it turns out, beneath the fairy chimneys and wind-eroded canyons of Cappadocia, there exists a complex web of tunnels stretching for kilometers through the volcanic rock. These tunnels do not appear to be crude escape holes dug in haste, but rather were deliberate, expertly engineered passageways. And their existence suggests a level of long-term planning and interconnectedness that transforms how we understand this ancient civilization. Before we continue, make sure to hit that like button for more videos. Let's take a closer look at this underground web and what it reveals about the people who built it. At over 8 kilometers long, the longest and most famous tunnel connection links Derinkuyu to the nearby underground city of Kaymakla, a distance of over 5 miles. This route is thought to have been carved out during the height of Derinkuyu ESU sometime during the Byzantine era, though the original construction may date back much further. Measuring just wide enough for a human body in many places, the tunnel would have been a claustrophobic, narrow space, probably only used by those who knew its twists and turns by heart. But recent surveys and ground-penetrating radar suggest there may be many more links in this underground web. Cappadocia is dotted with dozens of underground cities, some small, some sprawling. And it seems likely that if Derinkuyu served as a central hub, then the entire region may have operated as an interlinked set of subterranean sanctuaries. Now imagine for a moment the full scope of such a network. Secret passageways running for hundreds of kilometers beneath the surface of the Anatolian plateau, connecting dozens of cities and hiding in plain sight. How did such an extensive tunneling project even come to be? Building a tunnel that stretches 8 kilometers underground is a feat even by modern standards. The tunnel between Derinkuyu and Kaymakli slopes and twists, following natural layers of rock and avoiding fault lines. Ventilation and drainage would have had to be considered even in a space barely tall enough to stand upright. And the alignment would have been carefully planned to ensure stability in the event of collapses. No modern tools were available. The people who built this would have relied on iron or bronze chisels, pounding through the soft volcanic tuff by hand. Without maps or compasses, the workers would have navigated by a sophisticated understanding of geography, astronomy, and stone alignments. Small alcoves or widened areas can be found in some sections, perhaps for resting, hiding, or turning around. This would have been a perilous undertaking. But for those skilled in the art of stonemasonry, it would have been a test of patience, precision, and teamwork. The end result would have been worth it. The passageways, while physically restrictive, are mentally liberating in what they suggest. A civilization that refused to be caught, that engineered its own invisibility. But why would anyone want to hide? The answer lies in what these tunnels represent: communication, security, and civilization under siege. The people of Derinkuyu may have used the tunnels to secretly move between cities during times of invasion. If one site was compromised, residents could evacuate to another. Messages, resources, or even small trade exchanges could occur without exposure on the surface. There are also signs that tunnels may have allowed coordinated defense. An invading force attacking one city might be outflanked by residents emerging from an unseen tunnel in another. In a land ravaged by centuries of conflict, Arab raids, Roman crackdowns, Mongol incursions, Hittite expansion, this level of defensive foresight was not just clever, it was vital. The existence of these passageways also implies something even more profound. The people of Cappadocia viewed their world as subterranean by design. They didn't simply build downward to hide. They created an entire world beneath the soil, with its own rules, roots, and rhythms. They created a society invisible to outsiders. The idea of a civilization engineered to vanish is a haunting one. Unlike surface cities which rise in glory and fall to ruin, underground cities can simply close their doors, disappear, and wait. Their walls don't erode in wind or collapse in fire. They remain silently intact long after their inhabitants have moved on. When you explore sites like Derinkuyu, it's easy to get lost in the details. The ingenious ventilation shafts, the worn grooves where carts rolled, the implements left behind by the builders. But it's essential to zoom out and consider the bigger picture. What does it mean to build a world designed to be unseen? To answer that, we need to look at why these underground cities were built in the first place. Was it solely out of fear, or was there another driving force? The answer, it seems, lies somewhere in between. These were not people driven solely by fear, but by a combination of necessity and ingenuity. The people of Derinkuyu and other cave-dwelling cultures weren't passive victims waiting for catastrophe to strike. They were proactive survivors, creating the conditions for their own endurance. They took advantage of the unique properties of the volcanic tuff, a soft, porous rock that could be carved easily by hand tools, yet hardened into a durable, protective barrier when exposed to air. They understood the advantages of being hidden beneath the surface, shielded from view, and insulated against outside temperatures. They saw an underground world not as a place of fear and darkness, but of potential and resilience. To build over 8 kilometers of tunnels with nothing more than hand tools takes generations of commitment. This was not panic construction, but planning for a future where living in secrecy, even silence, could mean survival. But the people of Cappadocia didn't just flee to the caves during hard times. They flourished there for centuries, raising churches, schools, and communities deep beneath the ground. The existence of the tunnel network also implies something even more profound. The people of Cappadocia viewed their world as subterranean by design. They didn't just build downward to hide, they created an entire world beneath the soil with its own rules, routes, and rhythms. Why do you think they constructed such a huge and intricate underground network? Do you think it was only for protection from invaders? Or do you think there was something else going on here? Let us know your thoughts. As we close this chapter, let's take a moment to appreciate the significance of what we've uncovered. For centuries, these underground cities remained hidden from modern eyes, silent witnesses to a forgotten way of life. Only now, through the work of dedicated archaeologists and the wonder of modern technology, are we beginning to piece together their stories. Who knows what other secrets lie dormant beneath the surface of Cappadocia? Perhaps whole civilizations lost to time, or evidence of prehistoric life before the cave dwellers arrived. Maybe the truth is stranger than fiction, filled with forgotten gods, secret rituals, and myths whispered only in dreams. One thing is certain: the deeper we dig, the more intriguing this hidden world becomes. Let's see. The truth is that Derinkuyu still holds many secrets close. Despite centuries of exploration and study, new discoveries continue to emerge, keeping alive the enigma of this subterranean city. We know it was a vital part of a distinct culture, the Kaimakli, yet little is known about their daily lives, traditions, or ultimate fate. Much of what we can tell you here ventures into speculation, weaving together clues from archaeology, history, and local lore. The result is a picture of a subterranean civilization rich in detail, but ultimately filtered through the lens of myth and legend. A culture carved in stone, the Kaymakli people. Derinkuyu is not an isolated phenomenon. Throughout Cappadocia, there are thousands of cave dwellings scattered across the landscape like the skin of some ancient dragon. These are the legacy of the Kaymakli people, a culture deeply tied to the volcanic tuff of the region. Their way of life is thought to have flourished between the 7th century BC and the 12th century AD, although pockets of their culture persisted well into modern times. Evidence suggests they carved their homes and cities not just out of defense, but out of religious conviction. Their deep-set doorways and windowless interiors echo the catacombs of early Christians, suggesting a connection to persecutions under Roman rule. However, the Kaymakli also practiced forms of Zoroastrianism and possibly a native cult centered around fertility and the underworld. The arrival of Islam in the region during the Ottoman period saw the Kaymakli culture largely recede, though their architectural achievements continued to inspire awe. Today, descendants of the Kaymakli live in the area, carrying forward a rich oral history and cultural traditions that offer insight into this mysterious subterranean civilization. Oral histories hold that the Kaymakli were not merely inhabitants of the underground, but actively shaped it. They saw the subterranean realm as a living entity, a dragon or great serpent slumbering beneath the earth. Their homes and cities were not just shelters, but extensions of the body of the dragon. Rituals were likely performed to honor this subterranean power, seeking protection, guidance, or understanding. Some believed the dragon mythology was linked to the astronomical cycles of the cosmos, with seasonal festivals mirroring celestial phenomena. Cave paintings discovered throughout Cappadocia hint at this cosmic connection, depicting not just earthly animals, but celestial bodies and possible constellations. This weaves a picture of a culture intimately connected to the rhythms of the universe, where the subterranean was not a place of separation, but communion. A world turned upside down. Cosmologies of the underground. One of the most captivating aspects of Derinkuyu is its challenge to conventional Western perspectives on history. For much of modern times, the story goes that civilizations emerged from nomadic roots, slowly advancing through agricultural settlements and eventually rising to urban centers. Then, and only then, did humans begin to burrow beneath the earth for practical reasons. In contrast, Derinkuyu and similar sites suggest a different trajectory. Here, subterranean existence predates more familiar forms of settlement. If anything, the surface world was an outlier, a brief interlude before fully embracing a subterranean existence. This challenges our assumptions about what constitutes a society. A typical image springs to mind: people gathering in open spaces, raising structures towards the sun. Yet Derinkuyu points to another reality: cities concealed in the dark, societies thriving without the light of day, cultures whose gods dwell in the shadows. What does this say about the nature of society? Can a thriving community exist far from the sun's gaze? Does it suggest a greater adaptability to extreme environments than previously imagined? Such questions force us to reassess the narratives we tell ourselves about human progress and the conditions for societal flourishing. Starlight below ground. Derinkuyu and the cosmos. A fascinating aspect of Derinkuyu is its potential relationship to the cosmos. Some researchers believe that the city's layout, ventilation shafts, and ritual spaces were not just random, but deliberately aligned with celestial bodies and cycles. The circular design of some chambers has led to speculation that they may have served as observatories, allowing residents to track the stars and navigate by their movements. This idea is bolstered by similar features in other subterranean sites around the world, hinting at a universal understanding of celestial navigation among cultures separated by time and geography. If true, this challenges conventional views on how ancient people interacted with their surroundings. We typically imagine them looking up to the skies from exposed plains or mountaintops. Yet Derinkuyu suggests another possibility, that they charted the stars from the heart of the earth, from a place where the sun's rays never reached, from a place where the darkness was so profound that it mirrored the vastness of space itself. In this view, the builders of Derinkuyu were not just surviving in the shadows, they were thriving in them. They understood that darkness was not the absence of light, but a canvas upon which the cosmos painted its wonders. Their subterranean sanctuaries were not just homes, but portals to the universe. And the network of tunnels and caverns was not just a means of transport, but a map of the heavens, beyond history's reach. What exactly happened to the people who made Derinkuyu their home remains a puzzle. There are theories that tie their disappearance to the rise of Islam in the region, suggesting that the Kaymakli either converted or were forcibly displaced. Others argue that environmental changes or resource depletion forced them to abandon their subterranean realm. Still, others speculate that they simply vanished, disappearing into the very darkness they had mastered. The silence left behind makes it difficult to separate fact from fiction. Without written records or artifacts to shed light on their end, we're left to piece together fragments of oral histories and archaeological evidence. Each theory offers a glimpse into the lives and fates of those who came before us, but none can claim certainty. In the end, the disappearance of the Kaymakli mirrors the ambiguity of their creation. Just as we can only speculate about who built Derinkuyu and why, so too are we left to wonder about their ultimate fate. Perhaps they left behind a legacy that outlasted their physical presence, a legacy embedded in the very fabric of the earth. Maybe the spirit of their culture lingers within the cool stone chambers, waiting to be rediscovered or understood. The enigma of Derinkuyu compels us to confront our own limitations. We marvel at the ingenuity and resilience of those who sought refuge beneath the surface, yet we may never fully grasp their motivations or experiences. This realization should not diminish our appreciation for these remarkable sites. Rather, it should deepen it. When we encounter Derinkuyu or other subterranean marvels, we are not just discovering relics of the past. We are connecting to a universal human experience, a testament to the human spirit's ability to adapt, create, and endure in the face of life's challenges. We are confronted with our own mortality and the humbling realization that there's much of human history that will forever remain shrouded in mystery. What lies ahead? Derinkuyu's mysteries touch upon fundamental questions about human existence, survival, spirituality, and our relationship with the cosmos. As we continue to explore these subterranean wonders, we not only uncover lost civilizations, but also gain insight into ourselves. We learn that civilizations were deeply interconnected with their environment, crafting their societies according to the rhythms of the earth and the skies. The concept of living in subterranean realms challenges conventional notions of civilization, prompting us to rethink the parameters of society and communal living. Furthermore, these subterranean sanctuaries invite us to contemplate the boundaries of human ingenuity and resourcefulness. They serve as testaments to the human spirit's ability to adapt, create, and endure in the face of adversity. As we peel back the layers of history, we're reminded of the richness and complexity of human culture, demonstrating that grand narratives often obscure the nuanced realities of the past. The silence left behind by vanished civilizations like the Kaymakli urges us to listen more intently, to read the subtle cues left behind in the layers of earth and stone. It's a call for patience, respect, and humility in our approach to unraveling the mysteries of our shared heritage. Hidden among the tunnels and chambers of Derinkuyu, there are signs pointing towards a more profound narrative. It's a story written not just in stone, but in spirituality, rituals and meanings concealed within. Many parts of the town are worn smooth by time, yet the memory of religious iconography still persists. Some of the chambers contain Christian crosses etched into the walls. They're reminiscent of the early Christians who sought refuge here, escaping the persecutions that raged above ground. However, it's important to note that these are not casual markings, but rather carefully engraved symbols. Many are stylized in ways rarely seen elsewhere, hinting at a deeper understanding of Christian theology or a unique artistic vision. But the religious frescoes and carvings aren't the only intriguing aspect of Derinkuyu. Rumors persist, though not all are confirmed, of pagan motifs hidden deep within the lower levels. This would suggest a possible evolution of spirituality over time, or perhaps a coexistence of various belief systems within the city's community. This blending of faiths adds another layer to the city's appeal, suggesting that Derinkuyu wasn't merely a shelter, but a melting pot of ideas and worship. As we venture further into the heart of this underground labyrinth, we find ourselves confronted not just by physical barriers, but by spiritual ones as well. Sealed chambers are found throughout Derinkuyu, some hidden behind large rolling stone doors, others blocked by solid walls. Why would the residents of this underground city seal off portions of their own dwelling place? Were these areas sacred, known only to a select few? One such sealed room, referred to as the priest's vault by locals, holds a raised platform and a small alcove behind it. This setup is unlike any other chamber and adds an air of mystery to the city's layout. Its purpose remains a secret, leaving us to wonder about the rituals and ceremonies that may have unfolded within its confines. These closed chambers and passages are more than just physical barriers within the city. They represent a veil, separating the everyday world from a realm that was once accessible, but now lies hidden. They serve as a reminder that much of Derinkuyu's story remains untold, and that the lives of its inhabitants were deeply intertwined with spirituality and the unknown. The existence of these sealed chambers fuels speculation about the city's deeper meaning. Was Derinkuyu more than just a refuge from invaders or harsh weather conditions? Could it have been a place of pilgrimage, a center of learning, or even a nexus of power? Some believe that the very layout of the city was designed to enhance spiritual experiences, with certain passages or chambers amplifying energy or serving as conduits for unseen forces. The presence of these sealed areas hints at a reverence for the unseen, suggesting that the residents of Derinkuyu lived in harmony with a reality that extended beyond the physical world. Throughout history, numerous cultures have built structures imbued with spiritual significance. From the pyramids of Egypt to the sacred groves of Greece, humans have sought to connect with the divine through the built environment. Derinkuyu, with its labyrinthine network of tunnels and chambers, seems to follow in this ancient tradition. It's as if the architects of this subterranean city were creating a tangible link to the spiritual realm, using the very earth itself as a conduit. However, the city's underground nature adds a unique twist to this story. Typically, structures associated with spirituality are built above ground, reaching towards the heavens. Derinkuyu, on the other hand, is nestled beneath the surface, aligning it with the earth's energies and mysteries. This inversion challenges conventional notions of spirituality, and suggests that the residents of Derinkuyu saw divinity not just in the sky, but also in the depths below. What do you think? Does the idea of a spiritually charged underground city intrigue you? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you're enjoying this journey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Archaeological evidence points towards a continuous occupation of Derinkuyu spanning over 2,000 years. This prolonged habitation raises questions about societal changes over time. Did the beliefs and practices of the city's residents evolve alongside cultural shifts in the wider region? How did their relationship with the subterranean space transform across generations? By studying these changes, archaeologists gain insights not only into the past, but also into the adaptability and resilience of human societies. For instance, the city's architectural layout shows clear evidence of expansion and modification over the centuries. Initial excavations gave way to more complex multi-level structures. Basic tools were replaced by more advanced ones as technology improved. These changes reflect not just material progress, but shifts in understanding and interaction with the environment. One fascinating aspect of Derinkuyu's evolution is the adaptation of the terrain. The Cappadocian region is known for its soft volcanic rock, which has both benefits and challenges. This soil is easily carved, allowing for the creation of intricate cave dwellings and passageways. But it's also vulnerable to erosion and collapse. Over time, the city's residents had to contend with shifting earth, adjusting their structures to maintain stability and functionality. This constant negotiation with the environment serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between human endeavor and natural forces. Furthermore, the city's growth and development were likely influenced by external factors such as climate change, population pressures, and interactions with neighboring communities. For example, periods of environmental stress might have led to increased reliance on the city's underground spaces for shelter and sustenance. Likewise, trade and cultural exchange with other regions could have introduced new ideas and technologies to Derinkuyu, shaping its evolution in unexpected ways. By examining the city's history through these various lenses, archaeologists piece together a rich tapestry of adaptation, innovation, and resilience. Derinkuyu stands not just as a relic of the past, but as a testament to the enduring human spirit. Religious frescoes and carvings aren't the only elements of Derinkuyu that offer clues to the city's spiritual side. Surface markers and openings to skylight shafts offer hints at alignments with celestial bodies. just as ancient structures like Stonehenge or the Great Pyramid of Giza were believed to align with solstices or constellations. Derinkuyu might have had similar astronomical associations. Imagine standing in the heart of the city, looking up through a shaft that pierces the darkness of the underground chambers. If these shafts were intentionally placed to allow moonlight or starlight to illuminate specific areas, they would have served as a constant reminder of the cosmos, even in the deepest recesses of the earth. This concept aligns with the beliefs of many ancient cultures that saw a deep connection between the heavens and the earth. Living in harmony with the cosmos was essential for a prosperous life. The shafts could have facilitated rituals or ceremonies related to lunar cycles or constellations, linking the daily lives of the city's residents to the rhythms of the universe. However, confirming such alignments is challenging due to the complexities of Derinkuyu's structure and the passage of time. Many shafts have been filled or modified, making it difficult to determine their original purpose. Nevertheless, the idea that Derinkuyu had astronomical alignments adds a layer of complexity and wonder to our understanding of the city. It suggests that the residents didn't just seek shelter underground, but also created a space where the earthly and the celestial intertwined. What do you think of the possibility of astronomical alignments within Derinkuyu? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback is invaluable to us, so please support us by liking this video. A striking feature of Derinkuyu is its near-perfect state of preservation. Unlike many ancient sites, the city's layout, carvings, and structures remain remarkably intact. This raises questions about why the site was abandoned and how it managed to survive relatively untouched until modern times. The reasons for the city's abandonment are varied and complex. Population shifts, economic changes, and external pressures are all possibilities. For example, the decline of the region's agricultural productivity or the depletion of water resources could have forced the residents to seek new settlements. External factors like invasions or the rise of new empires might have also played a role. Despite the city's abandonment, it managed to evade destruction, remaining hidden from looters and treasure seekers. This preservation is all the more remarkable considering the city's historical significance and the passage of time. It speaks to the effectiveness of the city's defensive design and its ability to blend into the surrounding landscape. However, it's important to acknowledge that preservation isn't absolute. Many parts of Derinkuyu show signs of wear and tear, indicating that the city wasn't immune to the effects of time. Nonetheless, the fact that it survived in such good condition is nothing short of a miracle. The enduring legacy of Derinkuyu can be attributed to a combination of factors. Its strategic location, natural wonders, and historical importance have ensured that it remains in the public consciousness. Furthermore, the efforts of archaeologists, historians, and local communities have been instrumental in preserving the site for future generations. The collaborative work of these groups has helped to ensure that Derinkuyu's legacy isn't lost to time. The city's enduring popularity can be seen in the number of visitors who flock to explore its underground wonders. People from around the world come to marvel at the ingenuity and resilience of the city's builders. This interest has also led to ongoing research and excavation projects, promising new discoveries and a deeper understanding of the city's history. Hidden beneath the arid landscape of Cappadocia in Turkey lies an underground city named Derinkuyu. The story of its discovery is itself a tale of mystery and chance. It was a fateful day in the 1960s when a farmer drilling a well stumbled upon an old tunnel entrance several stories below the surface. This serendipitous moment marked the beginning of the unearthing of Derinkuyu, a subterranean labyrinth that had remained concealed for centuries. The initial discovery was only the tip of the iceberg. What followed was the gradual unveiling of a vast network of tunnels, rooms, and passageways that stretched deep into the earth. Excavations uncovered layers of history, each adding to the intrigue surrounding this hidden gem. The allure of Derinkuyu, however, is not just in its sheer size or historical significance, but also in the enigmatic gaps that remain even after decades of exploration. In fact, the rediscovery of Derinkuyu in the 1960s was only the beginning. Since then, the once-forgotten underground city has transitioned from obscurity to a globally recognized archaeological site. But what does rediscovery truly mean when vast parts of the city still remain uncharted? What does preservation look like when ancient tunnels fight the erosion of time and secrecy? Today, we're going to try and find out. becoming a public wonder. Not long after its accidental unearthing, Derinkuyu was thrust into the spotlight. By the early 1970s, Turkish authorities realized the significance of what lay beneath their feet. What began as cautious exploration quickly evolved into full-scale excavation. The Turkish Department of Culture began mapping the sprawling labyrinth, carefully navigating its delicate architecture. Within a few years, portions of Derinkuyu were opened to the public, quickly becoming one of Turkey's most fascinating tourist destinations. Guides led curious travelers through its cool, narrow corridors, offering glimpses into ancient engineering marvels. Still, only about 10 to 15% of the entire city has been made accessible. The rest remains off-limits, too unstable, too unexplored, or too sacred. The art and science of preservation. Preserving Derinkuyu is not a simple task. Unlike structures above ground, this city lives and breathes underground, prone to erosion, humidity changes, and natural wear. In certain areas, walls have been reinforced. In others, collapses have sealed routes that had been passable just a decade earlier. Conservationists work in tandem with archaeologists to stabilize the oldest sections of the city. Techniques borrowed from mining and cave maintenance are used to ensure safety, while respecting the delicate historical footprint. Modern air circulation systems help regulate humidity, slowing down decay. Sensors have been installed in some corridors to monitor structural shifts. In deeper levels, where mapping is still ongoing, LiDAR and 3D imaging tools allow researchers to see through rock walls, revealing chambers no human has yet entered. But there is always a tension between access and preservation. Every tourist brings in light, sound, moisture. Every new visitor changes the microclimate of this ancient womb. That's why sections of Derinkuyu are now only accessible to researchers, and why some might never be opened at all. Modern mapping and new discoveries. In the 21st century, technology has become the new key to unlocking Derinkuyu's secrets. Remote sensing tools and ground-penetrating radar, GPR, have revealed dozens of additional chambers that lie beneath or beyond current access points. Some are massive, indicating communal halls or storage areas. Others are tight and vertical, possibly leading to unknown lower levels. Robotic cameras and drones, specially designed for underground environments, are sent into tight shafts. They bring back images of untouched rooms with strange carvings, tools, and even what appears to be furniture carved from the stone itself. These advances have sparked excitement, but also caution. There's a growing consensus in the archaeological community. We may have only scratched the surface. Derinkuyu might be just one part of a much larger subterranean network. What if the tunnels discovered so far are merely the visible peaks of a much vaster, interconnected ice? What if the city's layout resembles a gigantic, intricate web spread beneath the earth? Such a revelation would redefine our understanding of this site. It would shift Derinkuyu from a singular marvel to a complex system of connected wonders. Imagine Cappadocia as a honeycomb of underground cities, each linked by a network of tunnels. Derinkuyu could be the queen bee at the center of a vast, hidden metropolis. What secrets would such a discovery unveil? Would it rewrite history or confirm long-held theories? What if these tunnels weren't just homes, but served as a communication network, a way of life? What remains hidden? Despite decades of exploration, large portions of Derinkuyu remain unexcavated. Some tunnels have collapsed. Others are buried under modern structures, making access logistically difficult or politically sensitive. Local legends speak of at least 2 more levels below the lowest mapped chamber. Some even say there are tunnels leading to sacred wells or ancient vaults containing scrolls and relics. Though unverifiable, these claims fuel the curiosity of modern researchers and the imagination of the public. There's also the matter of language and symbols. While many parts of the site have yielded Christian iconography, other rooms feature geometric patterns that don't fit any known era or culture conclusively. If these represent an even older layer of civilization, what culture might have lived here before recorded history? In recent years, efforts have intensified to protect these unknown sections. Scholars argue that opening everything could compromise the mystery that makes Derinkuyu so compelling. There's value in the unknown, a living heritage. For locals in the region, Derinkuyu is more than an archaeological curiosity. It's part of their identity. Many residents have ancestors who spoke of the underground city as more than myth. Some still believe the lower levels hide sacred relics or spirits of the past. Turkish authorities have worked with local communities to ensure preservation efforts respect cultural sensitivities. This partnership has led to the rediscovery of oral histories, legends, and even family stories of ancestors who once took refuge in the tunnels. Children in Derinkuyu grow up hearing tales of hidden chambers and the echoes of footsteps in the deep. It's a living connection to a past that still breathes beneath their homes. The future of Derinkuyu. As interest grows, the challenge of balancing preservation with accessibility becomes more urgent. Will future generations be able to walk these corridors, or will Derinkuyu become a sealed archive of history? New technologies like AI-assisted analysis, nanodrones, and hyperspectral imaging may help answer questions that human exploration cannot. They might uncover texts, biological samples, or even signs of long-lost inhabitants. But with each advancement comes responsibility. Derinkuyu is not just a wonder of the past. It is a mirror for how we treat the ancient, the mysterious, and the sacred. Perhaps the city still holds its most important secret, that not everything must be known to be valuable. Some places are meant to remain partially hidden, whispering their stories to those patient enough to listen. What lessons echo from the silence of Derinkuyu's tunnels? At first glance, the city beneath the earth is a marvel of ancient engineering, but dig deeper, both literally and metaphorically, and it becomes a reflection of humanity itself. A story not only about survival, but about fear, resilience, and the lengths to which people will go to protect what matters most. To begin our journey, let's navigate through the labyrinthine passages of Derinkuyu. Imagine a network of tunnels and chambers extending over 60 meters deep into the ground, a subterranean metropolis composed of 18 stories, complete with kitchens, classrooms, stables, and even churches. All of this hewn from volcanic rock. Now try to wrap your mind around its capacity. Derinkuyu could house up to 20,000 people. It wasn't merely a refuge, it was a microcosm of life, a world turned upside down. But why would a civilization build such an elaborate subterranean sanctuary? The answer, like much of Derinkuyu, is shrouded in mystery. Some say it was a refuge from invaders. Others whisper of environmental shifts or seismic rumblings that shook the region centuries ago. Perhaps it was a blend of all these factors and more. Whatever the catalyst, the result is a testament to the human will to survive. The entrances to this underground realm are concealed, disguised to the casual observer as ordinary dwellings. Once inside, however, the reality unfolds, a warren of tunnels so intricate it resembles a maze. The layout, far from being random, was designed for defense. Each level was a barrier against potential intruders. As one descends into Derinkuyu, the air grows cooler, damper, heavy with the scent of earth and time. There are no windows, no markers of day or night. One can only navigate by the artificial lights that pierce the gloom. It's a disorienting experience, one that challenges our very perception of the world. Imagine living here permanently. How would one keep track of time? How does one maintain a sense of self? What does community look like in such close quarters? And perhaps the most critical question, how do people cope with the psychological impact of existing so far below the surface? These are not merely academic questions. They delve into the heart of human resilience, forcing us to confront the limits of our own adaptability. Derinkuyu was not just an engineering marvel, it was a social experiment of sorts, a test of the human spirit's tenacity. The scale of this endeavor boggles the mind. It required generations of work, a Herculean effort to excavate, haul away dirt, install ventilation shafts, and create a self-sustaining ecosystem below the surface. It was an immense undertaking, yet the residents made it their home. They farmed in the dark, raised livestock in the confined spaces, and lived full lives far from the sun. Their days were measured by the rhythm of their subterranean existence. In fact, the city was designed to function as a living space in perpetuity. It wasn't a temporary shelter or a quick escape route, but a permanent relocation. The inhabitants didn't just endure life underground, they thrived. They created homes, raised families, and built a community that thrived in the absence of light and air. It's a lesson in resourcefulness and adaptation that resonates even today. Modern parallels. In the contemporary world, The idea of living underground might seem extreme, but it's not as far-fetched as one might think. From fallout shelters to underground bunkers designed to withstand nuclear blasts, the concept of taking refuge below the surface has a firm place in modern consciousness. In fact, it's not just about surviving global disasters. Many tech moguls have invested in underground properties or structures, seeing them as safe havens from various threats. Whether it's climate change, economic upheaval, or even pandemics, the allure of the underground as a secure location is undeniable. But it's not just about safety. There's also a fascination with the idea of creating a self-sustaining environment below the surface. The controlled atmosphere, the absence of natural disasters, and the potential for energy efficiency make underground living an attractive proposition for those seeking a stable, consistent environment. Moreover, it taps into a primal human instinct, the urge to burrow, to seek shelter in the womb of the earth. It's a deeply ingrained response to danger, a survival mechanism that transcends our modern-day concerns. Even the choice of locations for underground structures is telling. Often they are remote, isolated spots away from population centers. This echoes the ancient strategy of Derinkuyu, blending into the landscape, minimizing visibility, and maximizing defense capabilities. It's a continuity of thought, a testament to the enduring appeal of the subterranean realm. As we continue our exploration, the question arises, why would anyone voluntarily choose to live underground, cut off from the natural world above? What drives the human psyche to seek refuge in the darkness of the earth? Is it fear, practicality, ideology, or a combination of these factors? What does it say about our relationship with the natural world when we turn to the artificial lighting and climate control of underground living? And how does it shape our psychology, our sense of time, our connection to the world? These are not just queries about Derinkuyu. They are inquiries into the very essence of our existence. Cultural echoes. The Cappadocia region of Turkey is dotted with remnants of the past, and among these treasures, the underground cities stand out as unique testaments to human ingenuity and survival instincts. To understand Derinkuyu is to recognize that it wasn't an isolated phenomenon, but part of a broader cultural narrative. Across Turkey, there are over 200 known underground cities, each with its own story to tell. Exploring them reveals a pattern of behavior deeply ingrained in the cultural fabric of the region. In fact, the echoes of this practice resonate far beyond the borders of Turkey. From the ancient cave dwellings of the Anasazi in North America to the subterranean complexes of the Italians, this instinct to seek refuge below the earth is a near universal theme. In Turkey, local folklore speaks of numerous yerin altında, or under-the-ground places. These weren't just shelters. They were entire civilizations existing out of sight, out of reach. The story goes that when hardship struck the surface dwellers, they would descend into these underground realms, carrying their tools, knowledge, and way of life with them. Derinkuyu fits into this narrative seamlessly. It's not just a historical site, it's a tangible link to a cultural tradition that has been passed down through generations. This raises profound questions about the nature of resilience, the lengths to which humans will go to preserve their way of life, and the boundaries between different societies. How did these underground settlements manage to remain hidden? What motivated their inhabitants to preserve their existence in secrecy? And how did they sustain themselves, both physically and culturally, in such isolated environments? The answers lie buried in the depths of history, waiting to be unearthed. The enduring mystery. As we bring our exploration of Derinkuyu to a close, we are left with more questions than answers. The true motivations behind the creation of such an elaborate underground city remain elusive, lost to the sands of time. Yet this very mystery is part of the site's allure. Derinkuyu doesn't offer easy answers. It doesn't lay out its secrets on a platter. Instead, it whispers its stories, forcing us to listen closely to the murmurs of history. It compels us to piece together the fragments of the past, to imagine the lives of those who once called this place home. In a world that often feels too noisy, too crowded, and too chaotic, Derinkuyu beckons us to pause, to reflect, and to listen. It reminds us that beneath the dust of history, stories still breathe. The lessons it offers are not confined to textbooks or academic papers. They are woven into the very fabric of the site, waiting to be felt, to be experienced. The silence of Derinkuyu is deafening, but it's in that silence that we find its most profound lessons. It teaches us about the power of fear to shape human behavior, the strength of community to overcome adversity, and the indomitable spirit of humanity in the face of challenges. It's a journey that takes us deep into the recesses of human existence, forcing us to confront our own fears, our own motivations, and our own capacity for survival. In exploring Derinkuyu, we don't just uncover an ancient mystery. We unearth a part of ourselves that we often keep hidden, the raw, unfiltered essence of what it means to be human. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and share. Your engagement fuels our journey through history. Let us know in the comments what historical mysteries you'd like us to uncover next. And if you haven't already, subscribe and join us in exploring the captivating chronicles of our past. Thank you for watching.